Hey, Anton.
Yeah, Margaret?
You know people don't talk about enough?
What?
All the society scenes in this episode are just August v. Wilhelm. Welcome to People Don't Talk About Young Royals. I'm Margaret. My pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Anton. My pronouns are he, they.
And we're people here to discuss the show our friends are sick of hearing us talk about.
If that sounds like you, stick around. If your friend's taking this podcast out of a desperate attempt to get you to watch Young Royals, take this as a sign.
Go watch Young Royals, then come back to this podcast.
Margaret, what are we talking about today?
Today we will be discussing the cinematography of Season 1, Episode 5.
Woohoo! In this discussion, we won't be summarizing the plot of the episode because we already did that. If you need a one-hour refresher, head back 2 episodes on our feed to our most recent This Week at Alershka for a full breakdown. This episode discussion will likely be all over the place, so strap in. You've been warned.
Okay. Are we starting at the top? Or do we want to start with the cold open?
We got our timestamps. I suppose we can try to go in order a little bit.
Okay.
I just started off with the lighting of the opening scene.
I know. So I looked at your notes, and then I tried not to duplicate as much as possible.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because I was like, it makes no sense to say the exact same thing in this note doc twice.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, I come to the usual thing I come to in the art of those, which is that we're mostly just like highlighting stuff we find cool, and then then the English major in me is being like, but why is it cool? And I'm like, sometimes things can just be cool, and I'm gonna try to reckon with that.
I like that
because it's just like the ambiance.
Mm-hmm.
This like morning golden glow. It's just extremely aesthetic is all I gotta say, because it's just a very beautiful way to start an episode that takes you in a lot of emotional places. Like it does its job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like this nice like sun filtering in through the windows.
Yeah.
Very like golden light. Yeah. It's nice.
I think I saw on Tumblr once there's an Omar song from his first album that people have attributed to tied to this song. I think it's In the Sunrise, and or at least but I saw a post once that was like tying various songs from that, being like it's vibe.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've listened to his album, I have to admit.
Yeah.
So you say that song and I don't know what it is, so I have no comments, but
fair enough. Yeah.
The title
works,
so I support it.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide how much of it I can like sing a little bit and then be like, ooh.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, it goes, ooh, in the sunrise.
Oh, I do know that.
Yeah. I figured that would be enough. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was really all I needed, to be honest. Just the title said it like it was a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my next point was basically just this like smash cut. We have that of the title card of the episode over the video. I mean, every use of this video in this episode is rude as heck, but not.
Yeah.
But I understand and I respect it.
Yeah, it's rude as hell, but I struggled to say this word earlier. Cinematographically?
It
works.
Yeah.
Cinematographically? As far as framing shots and communicating emotion, it works.
Definitely. We have the opening like fun scene, and then it just like throws us into that.
It is certainly the first like not purely happiness.
Right. I mean, like it's like, granted we're 4 minutes into the episode, but at the same time you're just like, I think it establishes how jarring this episode can be at times.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's setting up Whiplash for sure.
Yeah.
And the rest of the episode delivers, so.
Oh yeah, that almost sandwich exchange. I was I was considering putting this, and then I was trying to be more selective. But I'm curious.
No, that's
to see what
fair.
you think of this, yeah.
I just kept noticing all the, like, little times that August was just looming in the background of shots.
Yeah.
Just sort of like a menacing feature, rarely in focus, but you know it's him.
Yeah.
I mean, there are obviously shots with him in focus, but the ones that I'm talking about are just the ones where he's just, like, watching from afar, not in focus, but you know it is him.
Mm-hmm.
And that vibe compared with the vibe in the gym where it's just like attack on attack, where you know that he knows about Simon and Wilhelm, but he's not saying it, but he is trying to point out, like, potential character flaws.
Yeah, they're all the little things.
Yeah.
That I think that part of the reason why I didn't. There are scenes that should seem obvious that listeners will notice, at least that I'm skipping over, because I want to save them exclusively for art of the choice.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah. Oh, in terms of, like, the actual, like, art of the frame is a pretty broad category, even though a lot of times we do talk about cinematography, and, like, that's what we talk about up top, but it's like, it's anything that was clearly not an acting choice fits into this episode. And so I can't remember if I mentioned this on This Week at Hilarious Guy, but it was like just the little, like, the, like, blocking, like, the character movement of, like, Wilhelm at the, like, grabbing the pencil from the cup, cutting through the classroom, dropping down the sandwich without skipping a beat, and then going to his chair.
Mm-hmm.
It still remains one of the most, like, charming little bits of like, is, again, like, these little touches that are, like, the reason why we do these episodes of like the moments that, like, don't speak super, like, loudly to, like, major themes, but they're just like, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we got something around the same time. Oh yeah, the lake scene. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of arguably the most beautiful shots in the show this far.
Right. Yeah.
We would be remiss to not mention it.
Yeah, I mean, my question in my notes was, like, is it cliche to keep saying the Wilmon scenes? But I'm just like, I mean, they're so obviously the parts of the episode, like, pretty much all the Wilmon scenes are, like, when the cinematography most pops off. So it's like we'd be remiss to not mention them.
Yeah.
And I tried to, like, make sure that, like, I did focus on, like, other people in this episode, but, like, frankly, with a few exceptions, like, there's quite literally nobody doing it like Wilmon this episode. And and it's, like, absolutely no shade to anybody else. And, like, we'll have tons of acting to talk about next episode, but in terms of, like, what the camera wants to pay attention to and what the camera really pops off for is, like, it's Wilmon more than that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's doing a lake scene. You know what I mean? Like, that scene is just so beautiful that nothing else compares. Yeah.
And it's like, we talked about it last week a little bit, of, like, the cutting through just, like, not even full bits of conversation. We're just, like, montaging this interaction in a way that, like, they play it smart, because it's like, I don't know if that like, it's like, they're like, this entire conversation would not be interesting, but we're getting this, like, concentrated package.
We're getting a highlight reel.
We're getting a highlight reel that, like, also, it's, like, tantalizing in that way of, like, we're just getting little snippets of things of it's like, we're getting, like, just enough to, I mean, like, it's like giving us just enough to, like, want more. And it's like, it is encourage. It's like a straightforwardly just a way to encourage further investment in the two of them, because you're just like, no previous scene to this happening like demonstrates such a like rapport,
Right.
like, and a like true like comfortable back and forth.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like again, in the name of Whiplash, is like we're building up, and we're I don't know. I can't remember if when initially watching I had learned the show's MO to be nervous, but when I rewatch, I know enough to be nervous.
Makes me very nervous.
Yeah.
Anytime I feel happy watching this show, I'm just like, all right, when's the next shoe gonna drop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The show gives me trust issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Lucky for you, I already had them. Anyways.
If we're done with the lake scene, my next bit was the montage of Felice and Sarah creating the breakup story.
Yes. And then also August seeing
it, yeah,
is so good.
It's like a 1-2 punch where it's like we're like, oh wait, what are we doing? And then
yeah, I would argue, and this is art of the choice certainly, but there's like a moment where you're like, oh fuck, is Felice gonna be mad at Sarah? But she's immediately not, and then it goes to just this montage of them creating the post, and then it's him seeing it and being like, fuck.
Yeah,
and it's just so good.
Can't remember if I said this before, but I do think that this is like some of the quickest I've ever seen a breakup play out in a show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, not only did we only get Felice in August, like last episode, but it's just like, I mean, it demonstrates something we haven't talked about as much with this show, but like as we're getting closer to wrapping up the season, like we're covering the penultimate episode of the season, like the show is very efficient with stuff it no longer has a use for.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it's like, well, we got everything we needed out of Felice in August. We're done there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it also very effectively laid out a relationship that couldn't last long.
Yes.
Because it was god-awful from the jump. There was not a honeymoon period. There wasn't.
We just we end 1-3 with them hooking up, and then we just immediately establish this is a volatile, possessive, just extremely unhealthy relationship that you just want to end. And so it's like, it doesn't matter that it just the show gets rid of it so quickly, because you're just relieved. You're just like, yes, that you should break up with him. We're not dragging this out.
No, yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, the gym scene is what we got next.
The gym scene with the society boys.
Yes, the society emergency meeting
And it's August across from Wilhelm with all the other society boys like off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the discussion, he does like look at the other boys briefly, but then from then on, his eyes don't break from Wilhelm, which is an acting choice. But I just think that the way the boys are set up, it just makes it very apparent that this is going to be an issue between the two of them, not something that the entire group is figuring out.
Yeah, which touches upon your cold open. Like, it is like both emergency society meetings are blocked out as Wilhelm and August literally facing each other. Yeah. I am just realizing also both are set up as a point of Wilhelm sitting down and August standing up. Mm-hmm. But then I remember in the second society scene, does he stand up? Does Wilhelm stand up when he like makes the play?
He might, but I can't remember.
I mean, I know he obviously like stands up to leave.
Yeah.
But how much longer will you be a member? You can't pay for your school fees. Yep. He stands up at whatever happens, you won't be here after Christmas. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's like if we like take a moment to like pull out of our chronological order for a second and like compare these scenes side by side, it's like you have a scene where he just like August like says the most like until the video drops like is the most devastating thing that happens to Wilhelm this episode is like reckoning with like, is this person that I have invested like the most of my trust in a short period of time, like do I know this person
right.
at all? Because it's like I imagine it's like there's definitely like this trust element there that like we are hitting Wilhelm. I mean, like August is literally like hitting him while he's down with like extremely like devastating news, and then we flip up the power dynamic in the second scene. Is very
for sure,
very, very clear. Both of us seem to be hesitant about talking about the music room, but we gotta.
Yeah. What do you want to say about the music room? Because I know what I want to say about the music room.
The amount of like tight shots on their faces really gets me.
It's very up close and personal.
Yeah. And it's like from the very little I know about cinematography, to an extent, you're dealing with something rather simple of the just like shot reverse shot of being of being like there's two people having an argument, so we're cutting between them. But there's, I don't know, to me there's just something about the speed of it. I mean, it definitely contributes to like how fast Omar and Advin are acting it, but like it volleys in such a way that like never loses energy. And I feel like there's like one too many wide shots with putting them both in frame, and I think you'd lose that energy. But we really get there still, like they're literally in the same room, but we get so many shots that like you don't know the other one is there.
Right.
And it's like it for two people who are very opposed in this moment, I think it fits to me because it's like we quite literally like are not seeing them see each other.
Yeah. I do fully agree with you. I also do want to bring up how much it like the whole like visual tone of this scene completely contrasts the warmth that we had in the opening scene, but also right before they go into the music room, it is not as cold. And as soon as we get into the music room, it's a very visually cold environment. To then have that fight in with the camera shots, it's just a very stark difference to what the rest of the episode has been.
Yeah, I mean, especially like that opening that we started the episode, or started this episode of the pod with, like in the episode of the show. Like, I mean, again, like pulling things from previous Art of the Frames, of like paying attention to, at least thus far, like what is the lighting for a Wilmon scene, and like it has always has up to this point like really matched tone in a way that is like you can't stop noticing it once you do. So it's and it's like, again, something so simple and so straightforward, but it's like, yeah, this scene there would be like something off about it if we have the same warmth as the beginning of the.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think I wanted to shout out the that voiceover transition where it's like all the society people like coming through the woods, and then August is in voiceover and then transitioning into that. Like, I mean, when I had to summarize that for the Sweet Halishka, I was like, I had forgotten about how effective this is, because it's like, I'm like, it's one of those things where I sit back and I'm like, I don't know a more effective way of pulling that off.
Yeah, this show doesn't use voiceovers a ton, but when they do, they're incredibly effective.
Yeah, like we had the only other one I can really think of is in the very beginning of the pilot with Christina. There's a voiceover as they're getting everyone in position on the couch for the speech to the nation, and it's
isn't there one shortly after Eric dies? There's one with Christina.
Oh yeah. There's the one.
But then I feel like
we find out Eric dies. Yeah.
I feel like there might be one of Eric's voice ? At some point.
Yes. Opening of episode 4.
Yeah.
Of with Wilhelm like walking alone down the aisle, we have the flashback voiceover too.
Yes.
Which like that in and of itself, that one is unique in and of itself. The other ones, like they're accomplishing. So like that one is like emotionally effective. This one, like the previous ones, are making a very like I was saying before, like the show is very efficient with story, and they're doing it like they are transition. It's again, it's a thing that you don't think about too much, but it's like the show is showing a visual transition to make sure that we're not just like cutting to a different, like it's like easing you into the scene in a way that like just cutting to August doing that would be like, well, okay, I think I know where we are,
right?
But actually tracking how we get there, not only firmly establishes location, but if you really pull back and think about it, like that's a fair amount of exposition that Marte just needs to like say. And it's like, if you imagine the camera just trying to like hold on him saying that entire thing, as I imagine it was on the day, like it would feel stale, I think, to a degree. So it's like, okay, all of the information that we do up until the actual like that we're actually in the room with them is like that is the most like perfunctory, just like needed information, but like the least dramatic information. It's like I think it's something like Alexander's meeting is on Monday. We need to make sure to show solidarity. Yeah. I also loved a little bit of like, despite everything else I'm saying, I also would like to joke that it's a bit of disrespect to August where his plan does not get focus. We're just like yada yada yada. We know what you want, but then we switch it up once we weren't in the room. Yeah. Which, like, do you have anything more to say about that Second Society scene?
I don't think so. Nothing that I didn't already say about the gym scene, to be honest. I felt like, I mean, obviously we talked about the power dynamic change.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely something effective in the ways in which when Wilhelm and August aren't talking, just focusing on everybody else. Which that is an important thing for the power power play that's happening. It's like you need to register on some level, like how it's being received. Like this is very much a one-on-one, but it is a one-on-one with an audience, and like checking in with that audience.
Mm-hmm.
There is enough of a balance of like random not crowd shots, but like random like glances over to the other people, like especially like the big reaction to like how much longer will you be able to pay
for sure
your fees. Like it's how much longer will you be a member, like that. It's like that little moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, there was definitely a oh shit in the room.
Mm-hmm. My last thing before the end of the episode, before we cover like the ending bit of this episode, is I think the Lucia reveal has always been very pleasant, pleasant to me. Like it's like those who may have rewatched this episode many times, it can be easy to forget. Oh, like we just like, oh, Sarah is Lucia. Like you just remember that, but like if you think about like the like first time, it's like they do a fairly good job of like hiding who is at the front, and then till all of a sudden we're like entering, and then it's like, oh yeah.
Because even though Felice says something along the lines of like, I have something for you, or I have a surprise for you, or something like that.
Yeah, and then
over
before
text.
That, like, and then before that, she's like, I didn't even want. She reiterates to her mom, like, I didn't even want it. Well, she reveals, we reveal that she didn't even want to be Lucia, which you could have guessed from looking at her face, but it's like she never says it in dialogue until.
She did mention that she didn't submit her name.
Yes, like you can read between the lines and guess it by this point, but like in terms of like it, like and it's like it is one of those things where it's like, again, set up makes sense. Like we're given enough information to figure it out, but it is close enough together that it's mostly just like setting you up for a pleasant surprise. And I think it's an underrated sequence of things that it's like
it is
that like is very effective, but like I said, does lose some of its impact when you know that like twist and forget that it's supposed to be a twist. But is always, I always find quite well done. And then now we're at the ending bit. I guess I didn't write it down, but I guess I do want to show a bit of appreciation for that moment where Simon notices Micah across the room. Because it's fairly like classic, but it's like you see a person, look away, they don't I hope they don't see me, and then it's like it's a very classic tension building, but it is no less effective at doing so. I think that's kind of sort of the theme of this episode of Art of the Frame, is like nothing is so incredibly out there that I feel the need to like gush about it forever in this episode, but like it is just doing everything it needs to do at the highest level. Yeah, I agree. And I think ending with the video and such, the like barrage of comments that you just that just get thrown in your face, like probably would be much more effective if I didn't have to translate all of them. But it is like, but like the subtitles do a decent enough job of just like imparting to you like there's the rush of information that is. Yeah, I mean, even like visually, we kind of get what Wilhelm would most likely be feeling of just like this sheer overwhelm of a lot of people have already seen this, and a lot of people have already had thoughts about this. Yeah, people are already discoursing.
Yeah.
Which I think is really that emotion really gets wrapped up, I think, in a very beautiful way with the button on this episode, which is just this series of close-up like looks and glances between Villa, Simon, and August. Like it, like until I was summarizing it for this week, I forgot how quickly there'd be like Villa looks up, Simon looks over at Wilhelm, August looks over at Wilhelm rushes off screen. Like it's like this, it's like a series of seconds, and you're just like, ah! and then and then you're just lost in credits. And
yeah.
And it's like another one of those natural endings to an episodes that nonetheless never stops feeling rude.
That's fair.
Any assorted cinematography that you feel like we should highlight?
I think we did a pretty solid job. This wasn't the longest episode. Apologies.
Yeah, but I think...
But it's... Yeah. It was very much a, like, they're just ticking all the boxes they needed to this episode, and they were doing it well.
Yeah. I do find that interesting, and something I wouldn't have noted until doing this podcast, that, like, the early episodes were taking their time with shots a little bit more. But as our action is amping up, I think the show does just need to play it a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
Which I think
there's more going on. Episodes are the same length. Something's got to give.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can't be being all artsy.
Yeah.
Every episode.
Right. Faux show.
I can respect and understand. It does just mean Art of the Frame is a bit shorter. But
yep. But that's okay.
But that's fine. I don't think Art of the Choice is ever gonna not be long. So yeah, you got that next week, listeners.
Yes.
But that's gonna be in our outro.
Alrighty. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to keep up to date with when we release new episodes and other pod-related announcements, you can check out our Instagram or our threads at People Don't Talk About. Our next episode will be The Art of the Choice for Season 1, Episode 5, so stay tuned. And with that, all that's left to say is, let's start a revolution, baby.